Okay, thanks Mubina for running us through those details. Let's touch base with our guests to understand how the festive season demand is likely to pan out for the auto space in general. Uh, it's going to be a busy month, or is expected to be such for the space in general. Aditya Jhawar, who's analyst autos and auto ancillary, joins in with his perspective, and so does Chinmay Bafna, dealer hero at Fort Point. Good morning to both of you. Thanks very much for taking out the time. Aditya, I'll start off with you first. How much are you penciling in terms of a boost coming in from the festive season?
Yeah, so initial feedback of the festive season seems to be relatively muted. Multiple factors are causing this, and one of the predominant factors is increase in fuel oil prices as well as increase in insurance for two-wheeler companies. But it's a little bit too early to take a sense of the entire festive season. So next couple of weeks, in fact till Diwali, would be a crucial period to watch out for. So we had done some extensive dealer checks across the 4 states, and the feedback has been relatively muted start of the festive season.
Right. Mr. Bafna, how is it that you would describe the demand scenario this festive season versus that of the last 2 to 3 years? Because, the big question on everyone's mind is, has there been a slowdown in demand, inquiries, etc.? And what's the inventory level currently versus the last festive season?
Unfortunately, the entire two-wheeler industry has been impacted by 3 things that have happened simultaneously in the last 1.5 months. The first thing that happened was the petrol prices increased by around 10 to 15 rupees, which is, pushed customers to change their buying perspective, and they pushed their purchase decisions. Secondly, we've had the insurance rates go up by almost 300% to 400% depending on the motorcycle, because of which the cost of ownership has gone up drastically. The third thing that has also happened along with this is that the dollar rate going up, all the cost of raw materials has increased, which has led to the manufacturers increasing prices. So all 3 things together have led to the demand coming much lower than what we had hoped for. So I would say it'd be around 15 to 20% lesser than what it was in the previous 2 seasons.
Okay, so what is it that you would attribute the muted demand to, and to what extent do you think factors like higher insurance, fuel prices and interest hike, etc. are responsible?
So in the two-wheeler industry, a 0.25 or a 0.5% increase does not matter much, because the cost of ownership goes up by less than 300 to 400 rupees over a period of 3 years. The insurance on two-wheelers has gone up to around 10 to 15,000, which was around 2,000, 3,000 rupees earlier on a basic scooter. So that has led to a muted demand, and also the petrol price hike is largely very sentimental. When petrol prices go up, people don't want to really buy motorcycles. They postpone their decisions to buy anything related to automobiles.
Aditya, between the various segments within autos, where would you be most optimistic about there being traction volumes? 4-wheelers, 2-wheelers?
Yeah, so we are relatively much more optimistic on the 4-wheeler side, and this festive season also we are seeing that inventory level, though they're higher on a YOY basis, but discount levels are quite similar as compared to last year. But whereas when you look at two-wheeler industry, the discount level are on a higher side, so that essentially could mean there could be some margin hit for the two-wheeler companies. But the 4-wheeler industry dynamics are pretty strong, considering the lower penetration both in urban as well as in rural areas. So 4-wheelers are relatively better placed in my view.
Okay, Mr. Bafna, is there muted demand pan-India, or would you say it's very region and market specific?
No, so the petrol price hike has happened throughout, even the insurance has happened throughout. So it's affected the market throughout India. Obviously Kerala is much worse affected due to the floods, and that has also caused a problem in that state. And there's also been a problem in West Bengal, where vehicles aren't getting registered if customers do not have their own driving licenses, which a majority of customers did not have. So these 2 states have also led to a fall in demand.
Okay. And which are the segments you would say are the worst hit in terms of both two and four wheelers, and any trend that you're observing there? Any one segment more affected than the others, or is there any pattern there?
So I would say the two-wheeler is much more affected because the cost of ownership there has risen by almost 30%. But on a four-wheeler, the increase in the insurance and the petrol increases the cost of ownership by around 4 to 5%. So I think this festival season, I think two-wheeler demand will be more impacted than the four-wheeler market.
Okay, and Aditya, before we wrap up, what about specifics in terms of stocks, given the pecking order that you may have, that will benefit from rising sales during the festive season?
Yeah. So in this, overall we have a long-term positive view on Maruti. We believe the company is very well placed in terms of, product portfolio, distribution network, and the solid brand. So Maruti should be a preferred choice in the auto space given the recent correction. And also one thing I would like to add, that the recent slowdown that we are seeing in the two-wheeler space because of increase in insurance cost, we believe it would be temporary. Over next 2 to 3 months, people would be able to understand this is a new normal, and the two-wheeler demand should also be reasonably okay in the next couple of months. So in the two-wheeler space, we like Eicher followed by Bajaj Auto. And we strongly believe that Bajaj Auto, the noise around discounting is quite a bit, and the impact on Bajaj's profitability because of discounting in the commuter segment is relatively less because of exposure to exports, three-wheelers and premium motorcycle. So Bajaj Auto is relatively well placed and least impacted in discounting. And Eicher, considering the strong brand and expanding distribution network to tier 2 states, is very well placed to deliver a double-digit volume growth in the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, gentlemen, great to have you both on the show and help us understand what's going on with the entire auto industry, and of course two-wheelers in particular, considering they're bound to get more hit with regards to crude prices and of course the rising interest rate trajectory as well.